Welcome everyone back to That Nintendo Show. While we sit on the edge of our seats hoping to get even a small taste of what Nintendo is cooking up for their next generation system, today's video is mostly going to be focused on their last generation systems, the Nintendo Wii U and 3DS, as we are quickly approaching the sunsetting of their online systems. Also, looks like Toys for Bob, the team behind bringing back beloved IPs such as Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, is back in the news with what looks to be a new game that could be something even bigger. So if you enjoy this video, leave a like, it really helps me out, and if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss any of my future uploads. So let's start with the Nintendo Wii U and 3DS. We've known for a while now that Nintendo has been planning to sunset the online services for these systems, and around a year ago Nintendo shut down the eShop on the platforms, but granted players another year to keep playing their games online. Well, it looks like April 8th is going to be the final day to enjoy playing your favorite games online. Luckily though, if you're also a Nintendo Switch owner, most of the best games from that generation have found their way onto the Switch through either sequels or deluxe edition upgrades. I think the one thing that stings the most is going to be the shutdown of the Pokebank and the Poke Transporter systems for the 3DS, which currently allows you to bring Pokemon all the way back from Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green from the Game Boy Advance all the way up to your Nintendo Switch through Pokemon Home. It is kind of a tedious journey, and for completionists out there, the accessibility to do so is going to be a bit harder once the bank shuts down. I personally am playing through Pokemon Crystal through the Nintendo 3DS Virtual Console version, trying to get the event Celebi that wasn't on the US Game Boy Color version of the game that I played as a kid, even though 9-year-old Mitch would swear to you there was a way to get it, he just didn't have access to the internet back at that time. Anyways, if you're watching this whenever it goes up, you have about a week to complete any old Pokemon games and get your Pokemon sent over to the Switch, or they may get locked onto the platform forever. In the wake of this news, a group of gamers called Team Zero has been working tirelessly to complete every community-made course in Super Mario Maker on the Wii U and 3DS before the shutdown on April 8th. Well, according to Nintendo Life, the final course has been completed as of March 15th of this year. There was another course they had believed to be the final one that no one could beat, but it was later found out that the course was made using a task bot or a tool-assisted speedrun bot, meaning that the course was illegitimate. I can't even begin to imagine how many custom courses are out there for the original Super Mario Maker, but as of last October there were 25,000 unbeaten courses that they've since completed. Part of me can rest easily that someone out there in this group had to endure my super toxic troll levels and mark them off as completed. Let me know in the comments if there's any Wii U or 3DS games that you still play today that are going to be affected by the shutdown. And also a final salute to the Wii U and 3DS. You may have had your flaws, but everyone has flaws, so that's okay. There were a lot of gems on those systems too that I'll definitely miss since Nintendo won't put them on the Switch. Anyway, let's talk about Toys for Bob. Toys for Bob made a name for themselves several years ago by remaking some of the most beloved games from the early PlayStation 1 era, being Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Both of those trilogy releases that they came out with released to critical acclaim, to the point to where Toys for Bob was challenged to make something new, and that new game was Crash Bandicoot 4. Also, another great game that came out of nowhere that everyone was just thrilled for, came out to pretty good reviews, sold pretty well. It was a hit by all standards. So what did Activision decide to do? They turned Toys for Bob into a support studio for Call of Duty. Call of Duty, whether you love it or hate it, is one of the biggest games that's ever come out. Sells like crazy every single year, regardless of what one's opinion on the campaign, multiplayer, zombies, whatever. It sells incredible. But Toys for Bob was delegated to working on, I believe, Warzone. It might have been the multiplayer for Modern Warfare, but I'm pretty sure it was Warzone. They weren't able to flex their creative muscles. But then something insane happened. Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard for an eye-watering $68.7 billion. And, since then, there have been layoffs within Microsoft and Activision, Toys for Bob also being affected with that. They're in their process of restructuring or whatever they wanted to spin that into being. Well, at the end of last month, it came out that Toys for Bob was actually going to be turning into an independent studio. They were breaking away from Microsoft. They were getting out of the chokehold that Call of Duty had put on them, and they were back to doing what they love to do. Now, even though that they have gone independent, it has been reported that they are going to be working with Microsoft on their next game. Now, I say all this, and you may be wondering, what does any of this have to do with Nintendo? Well, dear listener, this could mean something very exciting. While the overall consensus points towards Toys for Bob is probably working on Spyro 4, I propose a different theory. A game theory, if you will, about what Microsoft may be wanting Toys for Bob to work on. And that is a remake of Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. If you're someone that knows me personally, you know that Banjo-Kazooie is my favorite game of all time. So anytime there's even a glimmer of hope that my bear and bird friends could be returning, that means I get way too excited for something that hasn't even been announced. But I mean, come on. Toys for Bob is the perfect studio for making a new Banjo game. And if it's sold well enough, that just means we're one step closer to getting a new game. Banjo-Kazooie, by all accounts, would have 1000% release on whatever Nintendo platform is out at the time. Look at the massive success and hype around adding Banjo-Kazooie to Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Microsoft is no stranger to putting their games on other platforms. This may not be factual at all, but I'm going to do my part and will it into existence. Thank you for coming to my Banjo-Kazooie TED Talk. I feel like Charlie Day in front of that board and It's Always Sunny when I start rambling about Banjo-Kazooie theories, or in this day and age also Switch 2 theories. Before we wrap up, let's look at this week's poll question where I ask, are you still actively playing games on your Nintendo Wii U or 3DS? Just a simple yes or no question on this one. Again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We just crossed the 200 sub milestone, which again doesn't seem like much, but it means a great deal to me. And holy crap, the amount of people that have turned out for the video on the Switch Attach. It has just blown me away. If you want to check that video out, it should be on your screen now. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great Easter weekend, and we'll see you next time.